call to order the January 20th meeting of the Common Council. Start with the roll call.
Mayor Butterman?
I'm here.
Councilmember Moser Campoli?
Here.
Councilmember Walsh Russo?
Here.
Councilmember McHugh?
Here.
Councilmember Lepari Shu? Councilmember Carson?
Here.
Councilmember Harrington?
Here.
Councilmember Marks?
Here.
Councilmember Matheson?
Here. We'll stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you all for being here. As discussed in the first meeting on January 6th, the agenda has shifted with the mayor's remarks at the beginning, with my opportunity to address some of the things that might be of a larger concern to the community, and also to maybe set the stage for some of the business to be conducted at the council meeting at that particular date. So tonight, as you'll see on the bullet points, it's not necessarily going to be specified, but hopefully give you an idea of what I want to talk about. That's my opening part. I also wanted, I didn't write anything down specific, but I also want to take a moment, I've had a number of conversations, and I know many of you have too, about what we've seen in the news and what's happened in Minneapolis in the last couple of weeks. And what is concerning to me, I'm sure is concerning to you. And the kind of harm that I think it does to community relations to have unmarked vehicles pulling up to neighborhoods with officers getting out that you can't observe as actual officers conducting business that we can't understand. And I think that that is a disservice to the communities that they are in. And you can see why people will be agitated, is because if someone comes into my community and says that they are there to overpower the authority of our local law enforcement for reasons that I can't understand, I think it's a natural reaction to resist it. And so I am very much in favor of protest in the peaceful kind that brings light to the issues of concern to all communities. And what I'm thankful for is that in Oneonta we have a strong tradition of protest and assembly. We've seen it a number of times since I've been here, and it's one that I take, I'm inspired to see it happen. Because I see people coming up and voicing their concerns, and by doing that it brings attention to issues that maybe we're not aware of in our personal lives individually, but do have an impact to our community, and in some way they will come back to us. When I look at on the news, I think about how is that impacting our community right now, and I think about our officers and our challenges that we meet in policing our community and providing for public safety. And so the timing is fitting that we have 3 officers here tonight that are joining the Oneonta Police Department, and I'm so proud of them for taking on a career in law enforcement and bringing their services to our community. Because I can see their faces, I can see their badges, we know their badge numbers, they're a part of our community, and I'm very thankful for them being here. One of the things that really was hurtful, among other things I saw in the news, was one of the ICE officers was confronted by one of the protesters, and he said to leave. And the ICE officer said in response, "I live here." And I was thinking, think about the deep wounds that has now caused between those law enforcement agents in that community that may take years or generations to repair. Trust is a very hard thing to build and an easy thing to fracture. And we've seen that here in Oneonta, where we try to rebuild the trust with our officers and with our community and public safety. And I think every day that we bring in new officers, we're taking a step forward and building community support. And so tonight's I think a joyous night that we have 3 more officers joining our ranks, and I'm very, very fortunate for you all to be here. I've had questions about ICE's interactions with the community here in Oneonta, specifically about the Otsego County Sheriff's agreement with the agency at ICE. And I'm very happy to report that they have made a similar overture to our police department, but which has been refused. And I'm glad it's been refused, because it's up to us to keep our community safe, not for agents that can't describe for us what they're doing. And so I think it's very good that our police chief has received those requests, has denied them, and said that we're going to continue to do what we do, because in Oneonta we have a strong support for our community, and we do that through strong policing, supportive work, and that does not necessarily reflect our values. In my view, I don't want to speak for the chief, I think what the sheriff has done is hurtful to community relations, because it puts people against each other, and we have immigrants in this community. As you all know, I've said it before, and I'll say it 1,000 times. I'll say it as many times as I want. My wife is an immigrant, and my life is immeasurably better because of her courage to come to our country. And she's not alone. I'm sure many of you know immigrants to this country that have come here, and they always come with dreams that their life and their family is going to be better for it. And I'm so proud of all of them that come because they do it. And what they see on TV, if that makes them feel as if they can't be a part of our community, then that hurts us too. So I'm glad to see that there was protests saying that, what we want is the rule of law, that no one is above it, and that we will abide by it, and by doing that, we'll be protecting our community. So that's my few moments on that. To a few more business items. The Waste Management Task Force, I mentioned last time, Don Matheson had done some follow-up work with some downtown merchants to get some feedback on some of the propositions that are coming forward as far as how we can arrange for a long-term waste management proposal. The next steps is we will post this once it has been scheduled, but in the first or second week of February, we'll have a follow-up meeting with Mr. Matheson and Mr. Harrington, who Mr. Harrington is the chair of our negotiations committee, and this is likely to result in some form of a lease agreement for part of city property, and so that is now under the view of the negotiations committee. So Mr. Harrington will be there as well as Mr. Matheson to present in a public view some of the options that we're considering so we can get final feedback before we take our next steps. So please stay tuned for the date on that. I've heard quite a bit of feedback as far as some of the decisions that the city has made in the last few years as far as how it affects the business community and people living in Oneonta generally. And I very much enjoy getting the feedback. Sometimes feedback is good, it's positive, sometimes it's critical, and both kinds are very helpful. I especially like the critical kind because critical feedback to me is a form of support in that it gives you what has gone wrong, so it gives you a chance to do better. So in that vein, I'm not sure what I'm going to call it yet, but I've put it on here, Business Community Roundtable, is the idea to create a feedback loop on a quarterly basis so that in my role as mayor can present some of the things that we are working on as a city and the common council, and then to get feedback on it and sort of the things that are not necessarily in each agenda. And then get feedback on it and then take it back to maybe the departments that are in charge of a certain initiative or to a committee that's in charge of a certain initiative so we can keep this feedback loop going. So the first one will be in February and we'll rotate locations, we'll rotate times and places, so hopefully that'll be accessible for anyone that would like to come. And it's not formal in the sense of an agenda, but it's meant to create a feedback loop that will help us make good decisions. That will work our way into the fourth bullet item, which I'd like to schedule a workshop meeting for the council, and I'm aiming that for our March 3rd meeting. So it'll be open to the public, but we'll be working on strategic planning, communications, things like the negotiations. We'll be working at the big picture of that meeting as a workshop, and we'll develop an agenda for it. So hope you can mark your calendars for that, a workshop meeting. That'll also be the date of my State of the City address, so we'll do that first, and then we'll work our way into the workshop meeting. So that night will be devoted to the planning and goal setting that I think we'd all like to do. So that is my opening remarks, and now we can move on to public hearings, which there are none scheduled. And the next part would be petitioners. If you'd like, there are two opportunities to address the council, now and at the end of the meeting. If you'd like to, you're welcome to. Before you begin, please state your name, your address, and it's a 3-minute opportunity to address the council. Would anyone like to speak? Okay. No. You'll have another opportunity, if you'd like, later in the meeting. Correspondence, I see a note there is no. Okay. Would you like to speak now? Okay, thank you, sir.
Hi guys, it's great to be here.
Just before you begin.
My name is Mike Portia Rothbart, 34 Spruce Street in Oneonta, and I'm going to pass this out to you guys. As you guys know, I've been very involved for a long time in the Susquehanna Greenway Committee and now the Oneonta Creek Recreation Area. So I just wanted to give you guys a quick update about a bunch of stuff we have planned. And also, this handout is too much information for you to absorb right now. I just wanted you guys to have it. So first, just a little bit about trail stuff that's going on. The Airport Commission and the Environmental Board are starting to work together on trails around the airport. The Roundhouse Road Trail, which the Susquehanna Greenway has been working on, is almost finished, and we'll have an opening ceremony in the spring sometime. The 6th Ward Trail along the highway is sort of in the planning at this point. DPW has been clearing land there, and it'll be constructed probably next summer. We'll start working on it, starting at the west end. On Susquehanna Greenway and the town have been coordinating on new trail connection from New Island out to Fourth Park. And I'm hopeful. Last year we didn't make any progress, but with the change of town supervisor, I think we'll make good progress on that. And then the rest of this stuff is a bunch of stuff that I originally was going to present at the CLIC meeting in November or December, but it didn't happen. And so I'll be happy to talk about this stuff. It's too much to talk about right now, but I'll be happy to talk about it whenever you guys want. If you want me to come back to CLIC next week, I can do that, or whenever makes sense. But it's basically looking at the big picture of open space needs and Oneonta Creek Recreation Area, Susquehanna Greenway, and sort of I want to get the ball rolling on just the planning process that will have to happen. And through my years on the Greenway Committee, I've just seen a lot of issues in Oneonta open space that haven't been addressed, and I want to make sure you guys are all aware of everything from, homeless encampments to sort of random people building trail features without any community input, and sort of a lack of anyone who has overall oversight and coordination. So I'll talk about that more in depth whenever you guys want me to.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Anyone else at this time? If something comes to mind, you have a second chance. You said no correspondence, correct? All right. And presentations, as before, will be the swearing in of 3 officers, and we'll do it right in front here. And I'm going to start with Officer Taylor Loader. Repeat after me. I, and state your name,
I, Taylor Loader,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the laws and ordinances of the City of Oneonta,
and the laws and ordinances of the City of Oneonta,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of police officer according to the best of my ability.
and that I will faithfully discharge
Faithfully discharge the duties of the office
I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office
of police officer according to the best of my ability.
of police officer according to
The best of my ability.
the best of my ability.
Congratulations. I got too excited. I will slow down. Jordan Brown.
He's got
I state your name.
I, Jordan Groudon,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the laws and ordinances of the City of Oneonta,
and the laws and ordinances of the City of Oneonta,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of police officer
of police officer
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Officer Stephen Hillis. I state your name.
I, Stephen Hillis,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the laws and ordinances of the City of Oneonta,
and the laws and ordinances of the City of Oneonta,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of police officer according to the best of my ability.
of police officer according to the best of my ability. So try to do my
You got it. Thank you for sitting back down in the gallery. You are not obligated to stay, but we do like seeing you there. Okay, now we're on to the city administrator's report.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll be brief tonight. You may have noticed Judy Pangman, our Community Development, Planning and Development Director, shared several grant-funded project updates last Finance and Human Resources meeting, so I'd encourage you to take a look at that packet if you want to read through those. There's a good spreadsheet that shows everything we've kind of been working on. One in particular I wanted to highlight is a recent housing rehab grant award. We were just announced as receiving $750,000 for a rental rehab housing grant program from the state. This will be for 1 to 4 unit rental properties with at least 51% of those units benefiting low to moderate income people. Grants will ultimately be for around $35,000 per property. We'll be hiring a consultant to administer the grant. It'll take about 2 years to complete. Similarly, we recently completed a single family housing grant where we did 12 homes averaging about $35,000 each. And I'm sure if there are questions about that, we can provide more information as we go forward, and certainly we'll be advertising that to the community as well. You may have noticed in Muller Plaza, DPW installed some tree benches around the trees. I think they look very nice. That pretty much completes the project we had done last year in Muller Plaza. Wilbur Park Playground Structure is another project, one of the final ARPA-funded projects that's being completed. You'll notice those up on the playground if you walk through Wilbur Park. The actual shades themselves will go up and come down seasonally, so they're not up yet. But the structure itself is. And then I just want to make a note, please send your thoughts to Oneonta Fire Department, who are, currently still managing a fire and the associated hazmat response that occurred this afternoon. They're still there on scene now on Corporate Drive at the Oxis building. As I understand, there aren't any injuries associated with that, thankfully, but they are still there working to clear smoke from the building, and it is a dangerous situation that they're handling. I understand the Otsego County Hazmat team responded, which we're part of, which we recently approved that about a year ago or so. So hopefully everything works out okay there, and they might be there for a while, but it sounds like the fire itself has been contained. A unit of some sort was removed from the building, and they're just still working on clearing the building of smoke. If there are any questions, I'll be happy to take them now.
No questions?
I just wanted to I know Judy's not here right now, I just wanted to say it's incredibly helpful to have an overview of the past 10 years in terms of the different grants that are provided, so thank you for that.
Sure, I'll pass it on.
Thank you.
Other comments or questions? Moving on. There are no scheduled boards, commissions, or task force reporting tonight, so we'll move to committee reports. The first one is Legislative Committee. Mr. Carson?
Thank you, Mayor. We met on January 12th with all committee members present. We started off with the legislation for reduction of property taxes for veterans that are 100% disabled. Ginny has researched that, found the specific language, and I think also we're finding out that this might be mandated by the state onto the municipalities. So don't know if we'll necessarily have to pass local legislation to make this happen, so stay tuned. We did talk more about the tobacco-free legislation. City staff and our city attorney are working on their end, and we'll get back with the committee. And then Greg went over some codes and or items that we need to look at that need to be codified in some form or other. It's quite the list. Carolyn is new to the council, and she was a little concerned that it was going to be a lot of homework. So we're not going to pull double sessions yet, but we will have some work to do. And that is about it.
Any questions for legislative committee? Yes, Mr. Matthew.
About the possible tax break for veterans, disabled veterans. When will we know whether that will require council action?
I know that, correct me if I'm wrong, Jenny, it was March 1st is the due date that everybody wants to have it on the books. So I would imagine that if the state is going to mandate this, that they're going to kick it out relatively soon. Other than that, Don, I don't have another answer.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Just for the chair, a few months ago, maybe it was 6 months to even a year ago, the environmental board chair, Dave Ainsworth, who is the then chair, put forward to the legislative committee a tree management proposal. And I've heard from members of the environmental board, I'm the new liaison, that proposal sort of evaporated or wasn't, I guess, followed up on. So I just wanted to know, and maybe this is an email to you later on, I just wanted to know if we could kind of follow up and have a conversation about perhaps what needed to be done to kind of further that along, or maybe it is actually something suitable for another committee, or kind of what we could do about that. Just because the environmental board was concerned about having their work recognized by council.
We did actually have a lengthy discussion on it at the committee level. And it was decided between listening to the city staff of what's being addressed that we would not move that further. And so I was in contact both verbally and in email with the chair and let her know that this is what happened.
So I guess what I was curious about, just to follow up, if I may, just to say that perhaps we could have some sort of conversation about what would need to happen in order to have the issues that were of concern to the legislative committee just addressed.
I think
It may be a follow-up.
Yeah, I think overall the committee felt that it was adding another layer of government that wasn't necessary because city staff are handling those tasks and or we're hiring subject experts to handle those tasks.
Yes.
Yeah, I was wondering, is legislative committee going to be taking up nominations again this year, or is that something that the committee will be looking at?
For the ethics?
No, nominations to the council. They had been reviewed, and then set aside because there wasn't time to finish that up.
No, thank you.
Okay.
Anything else? Okay. All right, moving on to Finance, Human Resources Committee, and Mr. Harrington, you're on deck now.
Yeah, I'm not as good as Councilmember Walsh Russo with this,
but you have to be for the moment. You have to step up.
Greg gave most of the report with Judy's update, so
Okay.
it was a good update. I think everything's in everybody's packet. I know we do have some stuff coming back up on discussion, like the home rule for hotel occupancy tax rates and the fuel farm. We thought that was important to have actually into the discussion section and for transparency with everything that's been happening up at the airport. A lot of it was just like funding of contract renewals that we've done, and the one I really want to point out is the bus transit. That came back because we missed the one that we're going to go for, so we had to go on to the Washington. It's the same thing, it's just a different part of the contract, a different state for the contract. So,
Good.
yeah.
Any questions, or do you want to move to the?
It's easy when Greg puts, Carrie and Greg and everybody puts everything to packet, it makes.
Yeah. Any questions? So look at the, oh, sorry, approval of warrants is first, though. The motion is that the common council approves the warrants totaling $569,042.35, and that the same be placed on the finance director's desk for payment as presented. There's a motion? I think that's,
Followed by Lynn.
yep. Okay, any discussion? None? Okay, clerk? take the roll.
Councilmember Mosher Campbell.
Aye.
Councilmember Walsh Russo.
Aye.
Councilmember McHugh.
Aye.
Councilmember Lepari Shu. Councilmember Carson.
Yes.
Councilmember Harrington.
Yes.
Councilmember Marks.
Oh, this is a special
Councilmember Matheson.
6 years.
Yeah, there will be a note placed on the record that she is voting by hand gesture.
You better define hand gesture.
Better be careful, we're gonna get another gesture.
Come on, this is a moment. I even brought seltzer.
Can't have it.
All right, well, thank you for voting. All set?
Hope you get
Okay.
there soon.
There is the consent agenda. As Mr. Harrington mentioned, a few things were moved to discussion agenda. So before moving to the consent agenda, would anyone like to move any of those items to discussion? Okay. So I need a motion to accept the consent agenda. Motion Campoli. Mr. Parishu. Okay, roll call, clerk.
Councilmember Mosher Campbell.
Aye.
Councilmember Walsh Russo.
Aye.
Councilmember McHugh.
Aye.
Councilmember Lepari Shu. Councilmember Carson.
Yes.
Councilmember Harrington.
Yes.
Councilmember Marks.
Yes.
Councilmember Matheson.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, we'll now move to the discussion agenda, number 10 motion. Motion that the common council approves the following budget amendments to increase the capital project budget for the airport fuel farm relocation, construction by utilizing funding from the airport capital improvement reserve fund. So a motion? I didn't see who was first, but I think Carson was first, and then Marks. Yeah. Okay, discussion? Mr. Harrington, would you like to open discussion?
What?
Discussion on the,
Oh, you want me to say something about it?
yes,
Okay. This is for the fuel farm.
okay,
We discussed this before, the fuel farm and doing all this, and it's come back around. Some of the prices are a little bit different from the last time we were doing it. They're a little bit higher. It's broken down between, once you do the first one, then you gotta go buy the tanks, and you gotta go, so it's like, I think there's 3 different motions, if I remember right, coming up for it. But again, this is something that we did work on before it was passed. It's part of the airport strategic plan, I guess is what we call it.
any questions, comments? Yes.
I was the one who asked that this go on the discussion agenda because I think there's, is it 3 motions interrelated, and it does involve a significant amount of money, so I just wanted the members of the council to be aware that
Sure.
they're all part of the package.
Okay, see no other discussion, clerk, can you call the roll?
Councilmember Mosher Campbell.
Aye.
Councilmember Walsh Russo.
Aye.
Councilmember McHugh.
Aye.
Councilmember Lepari Shu. Councilmember Carson.
Yes.
Councilmember Harrington.
Yes.
Councilmember Marks.
Yes.
Councilmember Matheson.
Yes.
Thank you. Next motion, as noted, related, that the common council authorizes the city administrator to execute a contract with Francis Smith and Sons Incorporated for the purchase of a fuel tank monitoring system in the amount of $9,631 and a pre-manufactured kiosk building in the amount of $14,191 for a total contract amount of $23,822, utilizing the Sourcewell Joint Procurement Program contract number 081524-SYS. Is there a motion for this? Mr. Carson, followed by, I think, Mr. Matheson. Okay, discussion. Going back to you, Mr. Harrington.
So this actually will be above ground tanks. So we'll be pulling the in-ground tanks out eventually at some point. And also this has an automatic reader on it so that they don't have to go out and dipstick it, I guess is what you call it. And also let them know if there's water, grade water in the system for safety reasons. And I believe also the concrete pad for this to go on.
Yeah, the next motion is for the construction of the concrete pad.
Oh, I jumped ahead.
That's
But
okay.
the kiosk is so you can put all the electronic devices in it and keep it out of the water, out of the elements.
Okay, thank you. Other questions or discussion?
I just
Yes.
have a question about Sourcewell Joint Procurement Program. I'm not familiar with that. Is that already vetted?
Yes, so it's a joint procurement program. There are several of those that, if you look in the city's purchasing policy, that the council at one time or another has adopted as something that we can purchase from. So there's already been competitively bid, and the city can essentially piggyback on those contracts to purchase
Okay.
things like equipment.
So it eliminates the red tape of going through several RFPs.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, no other discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Moser Campoli?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see your hand.
No, it's okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I have one last question actually for City Administrator, for Greg. The purpose overall for all of this is environmental protection, is that correct? Is that sort of the goal, is to move all of these
Yeah,
operations just above ground for the purposes of protection of the environment? Is that?
That's a big part of it.
Okay,
Obviously,
yeah.
they're reaching the end of their useful life, so it's time to replace the underground tanks. They're not leaking at this point. You know, we have no indication of that. We do have a monitoring system that's more of a manual one, but this will make it much more obvious, much easier to track any potential leaks in the future. There'll be secondary containment. It's the way things are done now, and as Scott said, it's a much better system than underground, so it's much safer for the environment.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good now? Yeah, thank you, sorry about that. Okay, now please call.
Councilmember Moser Campoli?
Aye.
Councilmember Walsh Russo?
Yes?
Councilmember McHugh?
Aye.
Councilmember Lepari Shu? Councilmember Carson?
Yes.
Councilmember Harrington?
Yes.
Councilmember Marks?
Yes.
Councilmember Matheson?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, motion number 12. No, is that right? Yeah, number 12. The Common Council approves the purchasing agent's recommendation to award the bid for the Fuel Farm site work project at the Albert S. Nader Regional Airport to the lowest responsive qualified bidder, Centec Incorporated of Colliersville, New York, in the amount of $162,690. Motion, please. Mr. Carson, followed by Mr. Harrington. Okay.
So yeah, I jumped ahead. This is
Yep.
a local company that's gonna do the work and the prep site work and all that stuff with the fuel tanks.
Okay. All right, questions, comments, or discussion?
Did you say you were looking for a second?
We already got that. Any comments or
I'm
questions?
sorry, I misheard. No.
Okay,
I
Ms.
was
Marks.
just interested, I just wanted to make a comment that I saw all of the bids and the engineer's recommendation or estimates, 250,000, and this company is local, and they're able to do this for $162,690 Centec in Collinsville. That's quite a discrepancy. I was just wondering if you could explain how they can do it for this amount, because it was quite a range.
Yeah, actually, and to be honest, that range that we saw was tighter than many bids that we see for different types of construction projects. You can see a pretty wide range, and a lot of, there's different factors that go into that. How, ultimately the contractors are putting in a price that they feel they can do the work for and make an amount of money that is going to be acceptable to them given their workload currently, where they're located. I think, being local, while that's not a factor in awarding a bid, the fact that they're close by, they have less transportation costs, that might go into it. I can't speak to specifics as to specific line items, which one was higher or lower, so I can't really get any more detail than that without quizzing the contractor. But you'll notice over time that we do generally have can have a big range on bids like this, so they're really, it's hard to predict sometimes. But to me, it was a good sign that our engineer's estimate was in the middle of that. It wasn't way above or way below. I think that indicates that the plans were pretty clear and people understood what the project was, and the fact that we had 9 bids is
Yes.
more than we typically
Okay.
do, which is a good thing.
And thrilled also that it's a local company.
Yeah.
People here working, okay.
Good, thank you. Okay, see no other discussion?
Councilmember Mosher Campoli?
Aye.
Councilmember Walsh Russo?
Yes.
Councilmember McHugh?
Aye.
Councilmember Lepari Shu? Councilmember Carson?
Yes.
Councilmember Harrington?
Yes.
Councilmember Marks?
Yes.
Councilmember Matheson?
Yes.
Thank you. On to motion 13, that the common council authorizes the city administrator to execute a contract with Gutchess Lumber Company of Cortland, New York for timber harvest on a city-owned landlocked property on Pearl Street in the amount of $10,300, recognizing that per contract, the city's timber agent, Northeast Timber Services of Walton, New York, receives a 15% or $1,545 commission on the total sales. Motion, please. Mr. Mosher Campoli, I think, and then Carson. I think I saw that. Okay, discussion. Yes.
I just wanted to say thank you to Chris and other city staff that actually recognized the opportunity of working with Hartford College to use their trails rather than coming down and ultimately landing on Pearl Street. Not an easy task, so thank you for thinking outside the box.
Yes, Mr. Harrington.
So I asked for this one to go on discussion because I have to abstain from this because this comes out of my office up at Harvard College, so.
Yes.
And that answered my question about why we pulled this. So, thank you.
Yes. See no other discussion? Clerk?
Councilmember Mosher Campoli?
Aye.
Councilmember Walsh Russo?
Aye.
Councilmember McHugh?
Aye.
Councilmember Lepari Shu? Councilmember Carson?
Yes.
Councilmember Harrington?
Abstain.
Councilmember Marks?
Yes.
Councilmember Matheson?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, on to motion 14. The motion, I'm not gonna read the whole motion. It's gonna be the motion that common council approves the following resolution as stated in your agenda, the home rule requests for the city of Oneonta hotel occupancy tax. Is that a motion? Okay. All right, Shu, Mr. Harrington. Okay, discussion.
So this comes back because to get the home, we have to redo the resolution to get it back in front of the state so that they can sign, hopefully pass it this time and get it signed, so we can start doing this. The same as we already did.
We have to refresh it because of the new legislative session, so. Yes.
So my question was just, and this is probably, evident, but I just want to make this question public, that the amount, the percentage is still up for our discussion after this passes in the state legislature.
Yeah, that's the way I understand it.
Yeah.
Good. Other questions? Seeing no further questions or discussion? Clerk, you can roll.
Councilmember Mosher Campoli?
Aye.
Councilmember Walsh Russo?
Yes.
Councilmember McHugh?
Aye.
Councilmember Lepari Shu? Councilmember Carson?
Yes.
Councilmember Harrington?
Yes.
Councilmember Marks?
Yes.
Councilmember Matheson?
Yes.
Okay, now we're to the roundtable part. There's a submission, there's 2 parts here, then we'll get to the other parts of the roundtable. For the submission of a 30-day advance notice to local municipality liquor law, the new wine and beer and cider has been received from Tinkeria Guadalajara, II, LLC, for the property located at 291 Main Street. I think last time we opened this for comments or any concerns. And then if there are any comments, concerns, then we will record them and send them on to the state liquor authority. Seeing none and understanding the procedure, we will report no negative comments for this particular application.
And we waive the 30-day
And we will waive the 30 days. Thank you.
opportunity.
Second, a submission of a notification to municipality for the renewal of a license to operate a micro business with retail authorization from Township Valley Farm for the property located at 393 Main Street, Suite 101. Any comment? Yes.
The only concern I had was the date that it was signed for was in 2020.
attention to detail on that.
I guess that was when their original application was, and they just didn't renew it.
I understand that, but
Yeah.
you get what I'm getting at, right?
You,
Yeah.
you're asking a lawyer that? Come on. You know the answer.
It depends.
You know, man.
Oh,
This is gonna be a
I was gonna
long
say,
and-
he only put the 2 years, he
But
didn't
yeah,
put the 26.
is it not 26, because
Yeah.
it matches the date that it was received?
Yeah.
So it looks like they wrote 20
Oh,
and
he's
then
gonna
just
put two
left off
six
He
at
just
the
didn't
end.
put the 2-6 at the end.
Yeah,
Right.
It does look
Yeah.
like 20 though.
It does, yeah.
yeah.
So we'll make the recommendation, assuming that the application was intended for 26.
Okay.
Okay. Any other concerns or?
That was informal.
Okay, we will report no concerns with a 30-day and the assumption that it was dated with a,
Meaning 2026.
January 8th, is that correct?
Yes.
January 8th, 2026. Okay. Okay, now we're on to roundtable, which is for council members to bring forward any ideas or things you want to talk about that weren't necessarily specified in an agenda item. One thing that I'll sort of start off with, and you can comment if you wish, is I've talked to you each about it, is moving our meeting time from 6 to 5:30, which, hearing no impediments at this time that would keep us from doing that, we'll give it a shot for our next meeting, starting at 5:30. Knowing that this may be a trial period, and if it doesn't work, we can change it back to 6, but trying to be mindful of our times and that this is not the start of your day for most of you, I hope, but the end of your day, and if we can get you home a little bit earlier, maybe that will be beneficial. But we're here for service of the public, and if that becomes an impediment to doing that, then we'll change the time back. Other things you want to talk about? Yes.
I would like to, call attention to the fact that our sheriff, our county sheriff, is in support of, working with ICE and I think that, just making sure that the larger community is aware of that, in case people maybe wanna reach out or ask questions, or, but it's something I wanted to make sure, because a lot of people don't seem to know that in fact is the case, and are just learning about it, and I think, the city of Oneonta is, it is exactly what it is, and to its core and its heart, and our police department is supporting us, which is a great thing, but ultimately it's one police department, and ultimately sheriff has say over us as well, so I think people should reach out.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Hudson.
I believe, I'd have to double check on this, but I believe the county sheriff is up for re-election this year, and it's something to be aware of.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, and I wanted to thank, Mayor Butterman for saying something at the beginning of the meeting, at the head of the meeting, and I support what you said as well about ICE and, protecting our immigrant communities here. And I, appreciate you providing the leadership on, that statement, because it's certainly something that I have been thinking about, and so thank you for putting it out here for the public, to hear as well.
Thank you. Yes, Ms. Bosch. Did you hand up? I'm sorry, yeah.
Well, it was to reiterate what other council members have said about your opening comments about the past 2 weeks in terms of what we've seen in terms of violence in Minneapolis, and so perhaps as a potential opportunity for us as a council to revisit the ICE ordinance that we passed last year, and perhaps also for us as a council to think about a show of support for residents of Minneapolis who are at the moment, at least based on news reports, embattled. And so just something to have us as a council perhaps think about in future for future meetings.
Is there some ideas what you think would be a good show of support?
Perhaps another statement
Mm-hmm. Like a resolution from December?
to
Okay.
perhaps modify that or add to that.
Sure.
as there's been escalation and assuming there will be a continuation of escalations throughout the US.
I just wanted to reference the March 3rd meeting that you had brought up, that you're thinking that we're gonna do a.
Yep.
So is that, are we coming in early for that, or?
No, we'll do
or
the same
what do you think?
time,
Okay.
but it will be sort of a deviation from a regular agenda.
Okay.
Think of it like a retreat, but in the public view, so we can talk more freely about some of the goals and objectives we have to put in place. So if you have suggestions of things that you'd like to talk about there, because we're not gonna be doing, unless there's some specific business we have to do that night, is gonna be dedicated to the State of the City address, and then to us talking about things that we want to think about, like you said before, the airport strategic plan, strategic plans in other areas, and these new committees that we have. So it's our opportunity to sort of collectively talk in a way that could hopefully give us some direction as we go about the rest of the year. And my goal is that we could do this annually. Yeah. Good.
I
No, that
was
was it,
gonna
yeah.
mention about the ice stuff, I'll wait.
We can go back to it.
No,
This is
I-
roundtable, we're just moving around.
Well, no, I was gonna say that Bingham, PD had found this earlier, that Binghamton, enacted a new law that banded city cooperation with ICE. Syracuse, we believe, has another, there's a bunch of cities, in New York who are passing legislation, instead, like, for us to.
For me, in my view, is since our police chief has already stated his opinion on this, I think we should support him in that. And so it was recommended, maybe some sort of statement from the council backing him up on that might be helpful, because every municipality has a different approach and different conditions that they're addressing.
Right.
Our condition is ours, in a sense, that our chief has made his feelings about it known to the ICE agents that have approached him, and we want to show him that we support him. That's how I would go after it.
But I think there's like certain details that we can kind of iron out to make sure that like there is a set of rules to be followed, or like if not rules, wishes, or like our expectations. That they can have something that's concrete to look back on, that we're looking, out of, our police department. Not that they're not gonna follow them, but like getting ahead of the game in a way that like now Minneapolis is trying to do, and backtrack and enact things and go backwards.
Forgive me, I'll state the name incorrectly, but there's a resettlement program in Oneonta, and there's a refugee program in Oneonta. And some of the members of those task force and committees have put together sort of training materials on how to deal with this. And I've seen some of that with the ICE interactions in Minneapolis, as far as, what's a good way to bring attention to the issue, whatever it is that they're doing. What's the wrong way to do it? And the right way is to bring attention to it. The wrong way is to, physically attack them, among other things. So there's like sort of like a playbook, if you will, or a training material that could be helpful. I'm wondering if that might be helpful for us, because it isn't a problem here, but when we see this a problem in other places, we're much smaller than Minneapolis, of course. But I think one ICE agent in Oneonta has the potential to be a problem. They've already been here.
Yes.
And if they come back, considering what we've seen in Minneapolis, for what it's worth, I don't want them here at all. But if they do come here, I don't want to see what happened in Minneapolis happen here. If they have a reason to be here, we should know what that reason is. We shouldn't be questioning it. And if you have to question and can't get the answers, I can understand why frustrations will start to rise up, and you want to confront them about it. But since it's not a problem here, we have this opportunity, like you said, to get ahead of it in a way.
Yeah, and I think creating legislation, like you just getting me to make it clear that no officer, employee, or agent may use funds, property, equipment, and personnel, or enforce civil or federal. Like having some stuff that's like scripted, there's more, but like so that we're just ahead of the game. We're not trying to backtrack.
Did the resolution before? Sorry, did that go through the legislative committee? That was in December.
That did not go through legislative. We were just getting ready to talk about like ICE stuff.
Oh, okay.
Because they were just starting to crop up here a lot more.
Sure. I'll lean in.
Bear with me.
Yeah.
So I think the difference that I see is that we passed generally a
And I think the distinction that I see is that this legislation that was recently passed in Binghamton unanimously by their city council, as Shannon was saying, has clear guidelines. So it's like no funding, no use of city property. There needs to be an administrative warrant before anything is carried out. And so I think that's really like the teeth, right, to be supportive of our police chief, because we have the strongly worded statement, and then if we put some policies in place behind that, then it becomes, you know, kind of our say-so. And so I think that would be something that I would hope that, you know, the legislative committee would look at. And I'm
Okay.
done now. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I think, and then,
Because some of the things you want to try to be preventative of is like ICE utilizing spaces that they think are public property or they have access to, and maybe as a city, we're gonna be prohibitive of their use, right? And so like if we have that in writing and that's concrete, our chief can, you know, stand on that. And so that they come in here knowing that this is not acceptable, this will not be supported, and that our citizens also understand if they are out there or they are being, you know, terrorized by ICE, what their, you know, the parameters are that they can look to for support.
thank you. And,
Oh,
yes,
I had,
Marks.
well, two questions. Number one, during the police academy, is there any training for our new officers, you know, just here, or, is there, that was one of the questions I had. Is there any, training during their, time in the academy? And secondly, does our police department, and particularly our police chief, are they notified if and when ICE could be possibly?
If they choose to, they don't always tell.
They don't always.
Sometimes if they're looking, just from what I know from talking with him, that sometimes they don't tell, sometimes they just show up. But sometimes if they're looking for backup or help, or I think in the beginning they were telling a lot more. I think after they weren't getting play, they started to just like show up at the mall or show up on Pine Street, which was not good for them. And like random places. So yeah, I think that they're not required, ICE is not required to say anything. It's more like of a, yo bro, like.
Yo, bro.
So if that's the case, then what is our police department's response?
And that would be town anyway, so that would be the state troopers, or like say like with the mall situation. Our city police could not go over there to assist even if they wanted to. You know, and so I think you bring up a good question.
Yeah.
My recollection was that there was some kind of notification, but that it's after the fact. And I need to get clarification from
I
the
remember,
chief on
I'm sure he'll tell you.
But
I think he said that.
I think this is something that we want him to weigh in on, it sounds like, as far as,
It's shifted. All I know is that it's definitely shifted from where it started to where it is now. I think it's just more, they don't have to say anything because they're federal.
Sure. I don't know if you're thinking or the hand is up.
I'm just thinking.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I would like to make a recommendation for the council, and this would be a public relations thing, that we call a news conference on the steps of City Hall in the near future, and all of us make a statement on this issue, because I would like to do that too. And I think that would call attention to it, and then we could also use that as momentum if we follow the resolution or a motion. And I think that's all appropriate. But if there's support for it, we could organize that and hopefully get a lot of publicity.
Thank you. I didn't see you first, so.
Mine is quick. I think when we passed the resolution in December, we had talked about putting resources on the website, and I wasn't sure if we got around to that yet. Probably a question for our clerk.
I haven't received anything.
Okay, all right, so you need some resources to put on there, and then you can get them up,
And
okay?
then I can put it up.
I can forward you some stuff.
Okay.
Thank you. Ms. Walsh, or so?
I wanted to just go back to your initial kind of framework from your opening remarks about I think the public safety framework is a useful one. I also wanted to, and this can, I guess, be up for discussion in terms of the extent to which we as a council would approve this, but I would also want us to think about as a council the extent to which we would offer support to those that have peacefully assembled in opposition to ICE and the actions of ICE. And that we would be a community that supports freedom of assembly in addition to protest events
Mhm.
and so forth. So that would be my, just furthering the conversation around what we as a council may think about and formulate as a public statement.
Thank you. We don't have to go round and round and round until we lose our voices. But this, hopefully it's a good start. I'm hoping we'll get some ideas. I'll take some notes as far as what we can put on, maybe become agenda items in future meetings. The way I look at it right now are some things that are coming forward, or things that we can put into our workshop meeting for March 3rd. And I hope you continue to bring ideas either through roundtable or send them separately, so I can hopefully build an agenda that we can see well for that workshop meeting, so we can make it a productive session. I am very glad to report that Greg confirmed with Jenny that we can have pizza at that meeting. There's
in the budget,
there's a
you mean?
code. And if you don't like pizza, you can make a request, but we'll have food for that meeting is the main point there. So I feel like that's a win. Yes.
I got something that's not ice related.
It's not what related?
Ice related.
Go ahead. Of course.
And it's like the weather.
Go for the weather.
So we had and Dave spearhead, our city attorney spearhead this, which I can say is thank you to, is we had one of our first Board of Public Service meetings since we enacted the new code. And we found some issues. And Dave is working with our city staff to end our Board of Public Service with some confusion around it, and he's going to bring up some recommendations to the council to make it so it's a little bit more user-friendly, so everybody understands, hopefully.
Clarification for the board.
Yes, because there was a lot of confusion the first one. They were trying to, as it was coming through, and even I sat over there confused going, I don't remember that. I don't think that was the intent of that, and so it was I say a good start, and we just got to fine tune it. So I just kind of wanted that up, that we did do the first one, stumbled through it a little bit.
Thank you.
But
What's that now?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
When he's done.
I'm getting the same
go
one
ahead.
now. Okay, yes, please.
Is this regarding the assessment?
no.
No, these were appeals to the Board of Public Service with regard to administrative penalties.
Or administrative, sorry, I said
There's
assessment.
been legislation passed, which frankly did not go through me, but was submitted from the former code office, that somehow went through, they got implemented without my vetting. So that way I'm totally not responsible for any of the screw up. No, they were just, the language was unfortunate in that it wasn't clear to the board members where their flexibility with regard to the remediation of any fees might be. There was some very mushy language that didn't give them clear guidelines, and they would sound like, significant words were used. Well, what's significant? Is 1,000 significant? Is 700 significant? What's significant? So what we're doing is we're tightening up the language with specific numbers to make it very clear as to what the documentation is necessary, time limitations, things like that, to clarify what the flexibility of the Board of Public Service has or doesn't have in mitigation of administrative time.
Sounds good. It also sounds good that moving forward, any screw up will be on you.
Exactly.
Yeah, I heard that too.
This time,
I heard it, yeah.
When the court says this is unconstitutional, you know where the.
Ding, ding.
I saw Greg wrote that down.
Ding, ding.
No, that and Eric is now on the attorney. All right, thank you. Anything else? Like I said before, I'm hoping this time becomes a sort of a free form in the sense we can talk about things. It's only our second meeting in this format, but hopefully it helps inform some of the discussion points. So, thank you for bringing forward a few things, some notes. I think I see a lot of writing there. So
I
we have a
got
few
one other
things.
thing since we're in this round table. Since we're starting, national politics is starting to, this is where national politics starts to, not interfere, but start with the local politics. Is maybe we really ought to think about bringing back the public safety committee, where the council and the department heads, like the police chief, fire chief, or whatever, we can sit there and bring up our concerns, the residents' concerns, work through some of the stuff, before maybe it becomes a, issue, or when we start battling with the budget and stuff like that, we already have some framework and stuff down where the direction of the council is, you know, so that I see this as a time of, like, we started the healing process, I think, of trying to be more communicative, is that a word? Where we're trying to communicate with people and back and forth with our department heads, and we're trying to make sure that we're affluent back and forth. I just think that, you know, this is a spot that we can really grow in.
I made a note. That's a good example of something that we could talk about through at the workshop. Not necessarily has to wait until then, but those are things as far as like what we can do collectively to address some of the other concerns that are not necessarily addressed in the current format. Thank you. That will conclude our roundtable for tonight. Any petitioners that would like to step forward now? Yep, please state your name, your address, and and then we can hear from you.
Andrew Pamela, 20 Darker Place, apartment 91 in Oneonta.
Thank you.
First of all, I'd like to thank you, Mayor Bartman, for your opening remarks. They're enticing. I agree with them entirely. I agree with everyone's viewpoints on how to deal with this whole ICE situation that we currently have. And I also firmly agree with Mr. Matheson's point about having a open thing to the public. I also feel that we should invite our two congressional candidates, Senator O'Brocker and Congressman Josh Riley, to get their viewpoints, since Mr. O'Brocker seems to be MIA about the whole issue, especially since he was our county representative from hometown. So I think he needs to be asked how he feels and, you know, if he feels that it's appropriate or not. And also, being the direct relative of immigrants myself, I also feel ticked off at the whole ICE situation. I feel ICE should not be welcome at all in our city, much less the county nor the state at all. And that should be firmly addressed to our federal government.
Thank you, sir. Other petitioners? Okay. All right, moving on. I don't think we have a purpose for executive session tonight. Is that correct? Okay, good. Okay, so what's the time?
7:05?
That concludes the meeting for January 26th. Good night.